Behind me is a replica here on VR of the famous doll called Robert the Doll. Now, let's do some analysis. So this doll is given to a kid, and throughout the years, as the kid matures, the doll is still with him. And as the kid grows into a man, the reports of him talking to this doll never ended. He got married. He put the doll in the attic, and the wife said when the husband left the house, this doll would walk around on its own in the attic area. Okay, fast forward. Now that fast forward a few years later, those couple died. New owners moved in. They found the doll in the attic. They took it off the case, give it to their kid, and the kid said the same thing. The kid said Robert the doll would talk to her. And now, this is becoming a common thread throughout the history. This is the most haunted doll in United States of America. Now, it's now, I believe, locked in a case, like in the picture you see behind me. It's in St. Augustine Fort, I believe. Here's the thing I'm trying to analyze. Within the story of Robert the Doll, you got the main character, the main owner, the kid, and his wife. Along the road of the story, it goes from him being a kid, him getting married, having a wife, and the wife would attest that she would hear and see things in the house. See, that's the thing though. One of the story claimed she would hear Robert the doll move around the house when the husband's not there. Other stories claim she sees the doll moving on its own. But the most common thing is the new owner, the story about the new owners and their kid. See, the new owners are not related to the original owner of the house. But the story is very consistent, no matter who tells it, even in history. That's if you read this paragraph here, and if you go to the state of Florida, you'll see the doll itself. It would retell the story about the new owner's kid seeing the doll move, talking to the doll, and there are statements from neighbors that would say if the owners are not inside the house, this doll itself would move on its own. And some of the neighbors' kids would mock it, and they would see this doll running up and down the stairs, or like in the windows, they would see a swoosh of a figure, especially when the house is empty. They would see it like do this, like running back and forth in front of the window. I guess it's being annoyed by the kids because the kids would taunt it. Some say, according to some stories, that actually this thing, at one point in history, threw a rock at a kid. I guess they're being annoying, and nobody was in the house except Robert. Maybe he opened the window and threw the chuck a rock across the garden and hit someone. But it's very consistent among all the ghost stories in history. This one is very consistent. No matter how many times it was told, which article you look into it, it's concise. So it's as if like it's a written statement by the witnesses. Now here's the thing though. What would make a doll like Robert the Doll come to life? I could think of a few theories here and there, but the one thing though, he was made by the maid back in the day. I believe the maid made this doll for her or for him. Did I just call the kid her? Oh my god! So she made the doll for the kid, but rumor says voodoo was involved. If you look at the history of voodoo, it's kind of like a religion that has two sides, light and dark. Some say one is called voodoo and the other one is called hoodoo. I forgot which one is the light and which one is the dark. But anyway, the story goes the maid was into black magic. Maybe she didn't like the way she was being treated and gave Robert the doll life. Or maybe she liked the kid so much that she gave Robert the doll life to have a permanent playmate. But here's the thing though. What if you give something inanimate life and that thing never was raised as a person, good or bad? Like, it doesn't know morals. It would just know instinct. Then that would be explain a lot of things that Robert the doll has done. He would torment the owner, Eugene. He would cause chaos in the household because nobody raised him the right way, like you would do with a kid. So who knows? Maybe this thing houses a devil. It could be housing another soul. But throughout the modern times, tourists would come flock and visit Robert the doll. And they would take pictures. Some tourists would not ask permission, others would. Those who did not, according to a lot of staff members, they would get a mail sent to the museum asking for giving Robert the doll an apology for taking his picture without permission. Now let's see. Let me turn around. Now people would say Robert the doll and that toy lion kind of look like a dog, honestly. They would change facial features. Like if you go there, stare at the case or stand next to it. And if not a lot of people are near you, Robert the doll will look at you with some malicious grin on his face. There's a lot of witnesses that would say the case itself would fog from the breath coming out of Robert the doll. There's a couple of instances where there's a tourist that would walk past the case, not paying attention to it. Just like tra la 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 la. And then he or she would hear knocking from behind. They would turn around to see no one except the case and the doll. And they would see the figure staring at them with its hand on the case from inside. That's creepy as fuck. Now, one thing they did mention about the story about Robert the doll. Throughout the years, they noticed that the doll itself is starting to age. White hairs are showing up. Its coloring is fading. But the thing is, it's not normal fading though. They say it has a facial expression of getting old. Now, you might want to debunk it and say it's a doll's age, wear and tear, whatnot. Yeah, but the way they explain things, that this thing would sometimes look real, or maybe would animate itself, and they will see how pissed off it is that it's getting older. Maybe being inside a doll body is not eternal life. Maybe that being stuck inside it is losing its mortality. Or losing its immortality. Because immortality is to last forever. Mortality, where you have a limited lifespan. Maybe throughout the years, this doll, whatever is keeping it existing as a ghost or as a demon, or whatever malicious being is inside it, is slowly dying. Although it is one of the fun tourist attraction in Florida. I think, if I'm not mistaken, St. Augustine is the place you should go to visit Robert the doll. But here's my question. Would you visit Robert the doll, the famous doll, besides Annabelle, in America? Well, the story between Annabelle and Robert the doll. Let's talk about it. Annabelle was made famous by the Warrens. Robert the doll was made famous by Eugene Otto. Back then, I don't think Eugene Otto has movies in mind to make up a story about Robert the doll compared to the Warrens. The Warrens, I'm pretty sure they made it their business financially and reputationally regarding haunted objects. I'm pretty sure the boy, Eugene, never thought, hey, one day I'm gonna make this doll famous. No, I'm pretty sure the kid would never think of that. Especially back in those days. He's well off. He's well off. His family's well off. They're pretty wealthy. So to all the viewers that are curious about Robert the doll, here's my advice. Be careful. Do not tempt an entity because they may be inside that case, but that doesn't stop them from messing with you. Robert the doll, the most haunted doll in America.